Go.
Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. This week's Parsha is Parshat Shelach. Now, in the first aliyah of this week's Parsha, we see that Yoshua's name gets turned to Yoshua. It goes from Hosea to Yoshua. So the Chafetz Chaim, who's actually called the Chafetz Chaim after his book on the Torah called the Chafetz Chaim, asks an obvious question about this name change of Yoshua. He said, we know that there were two great leaders from the generation of after Moshe. There was Yoshua and there was Kalev. So why did Yoshua have his name changed and Kalev didn't? So this is one of the most famous pieces featured in the Chafetz Chaim, and he brings down that really there are two types of Jewish leaders. They're the Yoshuas and they're the Kalevs. Now, what's the difference? There's the Yoshua who immediately distances themselves from anything that could be harmful to their ideologies, right? Complete split. And then there are people like Kalev who go who immerse with everyone else, but once they gain the proper respect and platform to really express their ideologies, then they're able to express themselves while having support from everyone around them. So two very different ways to really be Jewish leaders according to the Chafetz Chaim. And if we look through our daily lives, we see this split literally everywhere in Judaism. We see people that distance themselves from society completely, and then we see people that really live in society and gain respect from others and then use that as a platform for their Jewish ideas. So it's very interesting to see this, even going back a few hundred years. But the Chafetz Chaim explains that although there are these two approaches to Jewish leadership, they each have their positive and negative attributes. So for the Yoshuas, the people that separate themselves completely, can be difficult because immediately you make enemies almost, and you really have to be constantly like assuring yourself you need a lot of help. The Chafetz Chaim says you have to daven to Hashem a lot that you won't be destroyed by your enemies and have everything you live for squashed because you're separating yourself completely. But on the flip side, you're really being strong in your identity. And then with the Kalev, the other approach where you're immersed in society and gain a platform, and then you're able to speak out, which is exactly what happens with Kalev in this week's Parsha, right? He's in with the spies, and then he's about to speak out against Moshe, right? That's what it sounds like at least. And then he says like all these things that are praiseful to Moshe, like took us out of Egypt, whatever. It's something good to look at. But the negative approaches with that, the Chafetz Chaim brings down. He says, imagine you're standing outside in the cold, right? You can only stand in the cold so long until you end up dying. All your heat's going to be taken out of you. So you continually have to be being mechazik yourself. You have to be continually assuring yourself and reinforcing yourself with your ideology. So the two approaches to Jewish leadership are both very distinctive and very interesting. And I really think for all of us, it's really something to really figure out, for each and every one of us to figure out which approach we most identify with. It could really take us a long way in life. So with that, I give everyone a bracha that we're able to really get a lot out of this lesson about the two approaches to Jewish leadership, and hopefully it could really help us throughout our Jewish journeys. And with that, I wish you all a Shabbat Shalom.